Welcome to the Another House podcast. I'm your host, Jim Hoos. I'm a marketing coach for real estate agents all over the country and a few other countries in the English-speaking world outside of America. This podcast has a simple premise. We're here to help real estate agents grow and succeed in their business. We're going to be trading success stories, horror stories, tips, tricks, and techniques to essentially grow your business while also learning about some of the most successful real estate agents in the English-speaking world. I hope you have fun. I hope you learn something. Heck, if you have tips, tricks, and fun stories to tell, reach out to me on my socials. I'd love to have you on the show. And I hate these intros being long, so let's get right off to it. Here's our first guest, Alex Kolesar. He's a guy that uses nothing but YouTube to grow his business, getting about one client a week just from his YouTube channel. I hope you enjoy the episode. I have with me Alex Kolesar from the Cleveland area. And today he's going to be talking about how he got into real estate and how he is killing it in real estate using mostly YouTube videos in a way that I'd like to call him one of the four housemen of Northeast Ohio, because he's got a really unique way of doing things. And let's just jump right into it. Alex, how are you doing today?
Good, Jim. Thanks for having me.
I've known you quite a few years now. You were initially just selling like 2-bedroom, barely a half bathroom type houses. And now you're with $500,000 houses and more, which in Northeast Ohio, that's our luxury market, anything above 400. So congratulations on that. You're really doing something that I think a lot of people could learn from today. So I guess basically, what is it that you do to grow your client base?
Yeah, so I'll start from the beginning really quick. I got my license in 2018. Prior, I was in the Air Force for 6 years. When I moved back to Ohio, this is where I'm originally from. I always kind of wanted to be invested into real estate. I just didn't know how. I wanted to buy rental properties, but of course you need money. And I was like, look, I don't have money right now, but what's the best way to learn real estate? And that's to sell it. So that's kind of how I got into it. In the very beginning, I mean, real estate is tough. I mean, I'm door knocking, cold calling, sending out letters, talking to my sphere of influence. And, I was getting some traction. I was selling, kind of probably what every realtor does, right? Maybe 5 to 10 transactions a year, just, kind of a referral base, just kind of know people from high school, sort of thing. Wanted to grow my business a lot more, but just didn't really know how. Always been really attracted to video and the fact that it is prospecting for you while you're not prospecting, right? You make the video and it is kind of evergreen. It continues to roll.
YouTube never turns off.
YouTube never turns off. I actually found another realtor who started a YouTube thing. I think it was out in Utah. And I was like, man, this is Google, but now on a video platform, right? Because I tried to do the website thing. I didn't know who was going to my website. It was not personable to me. It's just another real estate website. So the fact that I could switch over to YouTube, showing video and just really talking about my area just kind of made me stand out, specifically to people that are looking to move to Ohio. When they're doing their research, they type in, even into Google, YouTube videos would pop up, like, what's it like living in Cleveland? My video would pop up. They'd watch the video. And again, there's a call to action to make sure you reach out if you are looking to buy or sell right here in Cleveland. So that's kind of how it started, man. It was a long journey. I've been a realtor for 6 years, since YouTube right during COVID. So about halfway through my journey, I kind of found the video.
A lot of people, when they think YouTube, they think social media, they're looking at like massive numbers. They're looking at people that have 50,000, 100,000 viewers or subscribers, I should say, even on just one platform, let alone on the big four.
Vanity metrics.
That is true. Yeah. It's, thirst traps will get you a lot of views, cool little scenery things. But what really I find interesting about your channel, but how many leads that lead to transactions are you saying you're getting a year from mostly this YouTube online marketing thing?
And it really varies. I would say when I started during like COVID, I mean, that was a lot of time when people were talking about moving remotely. Right. So I saw a really big spike kind of during the COVID timeframe, but since like that whole remote working has slowed down a little bit, I've noticed the channel slowly starting to go down. But again, it's one of those things where you just got to be consistent in terms of actually getting numbers. I would say on average, at least one a week.
One a week. So you're getting one lead a week. And these are mostly leading to transactions, you'd say?
I mean, if I'm talking to somebody and they're moving here, it's like a 95%.
Okay.
But most people, yeah, you need 100 leads,
Yeah.
and you close 2 to 4%.
Right, yeah. That's like Zillow's metric. You buy 100 leads, 4 of them lead to like 6 will lead to a client, 4 will lead to a transaction. So, yeah, that is that okay. I was expecting a high number, but that's really high. So that's
Yeah, and
good.
it's pretty high for the most part, and the only way that people don't end up working with me is, like, I had one client. It was literally one. They were a huge, I mean, they were $1 million buyer, and the wife ended up meeting another wife at an open house. So they were just checking out a property. It wasn't available. And she's like, we just clicked so well. She has kids in the same school district. Like, that was one of the big ones that I ended up losing, but it's very small stuff like that where maybe I just wasn't available, or they found someone who just,
And, you can't win them
yeah,
all.
word them all. But
You can't win them all.
seeing people
But
on video, yeah, they just kind of like, know, and trust you. Like, yeah.
yeah, like
Mhm.
know, respect, and trust. That is everyone watching knows that's how you get an agent, pretty much. But yeah, you've pretty much done your pre-interview before they even meet you.
Mhm.
So yeah, you're closing about 95% of the people that meet you online.
Mhm.
You're getting one or so a week. Let's just, for the sake of numbers, really round down, so you get 30 transactions a year from your YouTube channel.
Mhm.
Now, this is the part that I think people should really like hone in on, is that your YouTube channel doesn't even have 4,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
So you are creating like this user base of people that they're honing in on you. You're really delivering on your videos, which we'll link to some of these on the social platforms that allow us to share links.
Mhm.
You're connecting with people on a rather small audience, and you're crushing it.
Mhm. Yeah.
So what is your like posting schedule? What's your growth strategy for, you're not going to be the next Joe Rogan of Northeast Ohio real estate. Like,
Mhm.
you're not going to have 10 million people watching you, but
Mhm.
really, how are you growing this on a more consistent level, I guess, or what's making you pick one video idea over another?
I mean, yeah, to be transparent, I mean, I started off really structured, right? I was doing on average once a week, I would say is what I'd like to do. Now, it's one of those things where you get you make the YouTube videos to get super busy, and then you get super busy. So it kind of takes you
Like,
away from the
you
YouTube
can't make videos.
Yeah. So you obviously need to schedule time, but the videos they're still going. I mean, I got videos from 3 years ago that are still getting like consistent views as if I posted them 3 years ago. I mean, they're just,
Mhm.
so it hasn't moved much. So I definitely thought in a little bit in terms of making the video, but that's the beautiful part of it, is that it's still generating business. And I know at any point, once you get kind of back consistent to it, I mean, you can really grow this thing. It's really scalable too. It's one of those things where if I just wanted to be like the head honcho and just making videos, and then I have a team underneath me, people reach out to me, I can just kind of assign them to my team. So I think that's probably the long-term, like, kind of aspect of it.
Mhm.
Get the business to me, help grow other agents underneath of me, all by using video.
Hey, everybody, I hate ads just as much as anyone else, so I'm going to keep it short. When you get a chance, check out the 15K Masterclass, the only class dedicated for real estate agents to grow on social media and get over 15,000 followers in the first year. Over 70% of my students got 25 clients within the first year of taking the class from social media. That's right, folks. They're using free means to get 25 clients. I'm not talking leads. I'm talking people that are using them for transactions. Take the 15K Masterclass, see how you can grow your business essentially for free. We're not talking about showing pictures in your underwear. We're not talking gym photos. We're not talking content that's getting people across the country from liking you. We're talking real content that'll get live, local people interested in you so they come to you when they want to buy or sell real estate. All right, back to the show. Yeah, I see on your shirt you work with EXP.
Yeah,
So
right.
it's a company that allows you to really build a team really quickly if you wanted to.
Mhm.
2-year, 3-year plan, is that something you got down the line?
Yeah, and it's honestly to get right there, to keep growing the YouTube channel, to get a little bit more consistent at it, and then kind of push it off to other agents to help grow their business, so everyone kind of succeeds into it. Because getting into the business it's easy to get in the business, but it's hard to generate consistent leads, right? It's not, you don't fail
Yeah.
because you're a bad realtor, you fail because you're not generating enough business. So if everybody's kind of winning in this sense, what's
Yeah, there's enough business for everybody.
Mhm.
Well, and yeah, you came in at an interesting time
Mhm.
just because right as you got your legs under you, confident, knowing what you were doing,
Mhm.
pandemic hits, and then everyone's busy. Not necessarily making a lot of money because so many deals are falling through, but you start being bitsy.
Mhm.
So yeah, we're all relearning things over the past 4 years.
Mhm. It's been
Um,
interesting. Yeah, when I started in
yeah,
2018, I mean, it was a normal market, and then when COVID hit, I mean, it kinda sprung up, right? Everyone's just kinda going in a frenzy. Now we're seeing it kinda start to the other tail end of it, where it's starting to kinda come back down a little bit, and, everyone's talking about inflation, and so it's a weird time, right now.
yeah, we just had a 1/4% drop in mortgage interest rates, so
Yes.
everyone's so excited.
But, I would say one of those things where, yeah, if these rates keep dropping, I mean, it's just gonna be that frenzy again. So at what
Yeah.
point is there a delicate balance where how much more can home prices keep appreciating versus affordability? So
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Our parents, they were buying houses at 18% and they were thinking they were getting a solid deal. And then, of course, 9/11 hits when we're kids.
mhm.
So we don't even realize how good we had it because we see 3%. Think that's outrageous.
Yeah,
It,
no, 1%, but it's funny, like, I don't know the exact numbers, but you see, the parents are making 20,000 a year.
Mhm.
Again, their property might only be 20, 30,000 a year. So
Right. Yeah. 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 Of course. Yeah. But
perspective to like a year's income, but now 400,000 for a house,
yeah,
average
that's
week's
like
a lot.
yeah.
Not many
Checked it last month. 440 was the average sale price for a house.
not many people are making 440, that's for sure.
And in our area, not so much either. But yeah, yeah, I know people that sell down in Tennessee and stuff, and
Mhm.
they've got borderline shacks that are going for half a million
Yeah,
dollars.
right? It's wild.
But yeah, come to Northeast Ohio. Alex can take care of you. Get you in a McMansion or so for half a million bucks. So
Yeah, and I would say YouTube is it doesn't matter if you live in the middle of nowhere or if you live in Miami or Cleveland. People are gonna move to your area. I think sometimes depending if you're, like, in a very desirable area, you might have a little bit more competition potentially with other YouTubers that are realtors, but again, there's a lot more people moving to the area, there's a lot more business to be had. Don't think because you live in the sticks or not many people are moving here. It's not true. Even if you get 5 views, one of those people could reach out to you.
yeah, going off on a little bit of a tangent real quick. There are two ways to get your business out there when
Well,
you're using digital. You can go in nuclear, do whatever it takes to get half a million, 1 million followers, and just hope they click on your promo code,
mhm,
and that eventually gets you a few $1,000s. Or you can kind of go get people that are looking for what you're selling.
mhm.
You don't need a lot of views. I know a travel agent channel, the guy's got 3,000 views. Sorry, not the country, the Philippines
Mhm.
paid him $30,000 to make 2 videos in their country.
Yeah.
So people, you can think about it, and it really depends on the philosophy on how you want to approach things. But yeah, you can definitely make really anything in the digital sphere work.
Mhm.
Alex, transitioning a bit, your production values. It's sometimes like I'm watching a Hollywood movie. You do
Mhm.
great cutscenes, great transitions, aerial shots.
Mhm.
Um, if you don't mind walking us through your process.
Yeah, and I'm one of those people that I'd like to I'm kind of a perfectionist a little bit. You don't So I do have a drone. I do have a really nice camera. I do my editing. It is a lot more work, and it's kind of one of those things where if you want to become scalable, you kind of need to hire this out a little bit more as you kind of get bigger because it takes a lot of time doing all this stuff. But I found enjoyment in doing it, and so it kind of worked out. Enjoying making the videos. I'm enjoying obviously the
Mhm.
business that's coming in. The production quality is one of those things that I thought was important. But again, you can find other YouTube channels that are realtors and they're sitting in their bedroom or a bed behind them, or even this. I mean, it's nothing fancy. I'm just talking on my iMac, and it's enough. You know what I mean? People just want to hear the
Mhm.
information. Um, that's really all it comes down to. I think the biggest thing that I thought was the biggest investment for me was getting a drone, so you can show the areas. Right? I can sit here and talk about moving to Cleveland, but you're like, what does it look like? I mean, what do the houses look like? What are the streets? And so I always wanted to get out there, show drones. That way it's just not me talking, it get kinda boring. Just show them cool shots, and I just thought it added again, YouTube wants to see people sit on your videos for a long time, right? They're clicking and
Right,
leaving.
right.
We're not gonna show it, so I always try to make it a little bit more engaging for people to stick around.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, I already knew you, of course, ahead of time, but I found your YouTube channel before you even brought it up to me because some of your videos were just taking off and topics. Obviously, working in real estate, I'm searching local things all the time. The algorithm's kind of loving you.
Mhm.
What software do you use? What type of cameras do you use?
Yeah.
How are you just doing all this off your iPhone?
No, so I do have, and you can is the thing, right? You can 100% do it off your iPhone. I have a Sony A7 III camera, so it's a DSLR camera. That
I
way
got the same one. Good
it gets
quality.
it the blurry, but
But it's not expensive. It's not that expensive to people. So
yeah, and I spent, I think with a lens and everything, it was like $1,800 at the time for the camera. But again, I'm over here spending, $2 grand on Zillow leads that are
yeah, you're
somewhat,
pulling in
so
50 or so leads a year from this. So
yeah, right. So it was an investment up front, not knowing it would 100% work out. But I knew video at some point was going to be the way. So I got the nice camera to get the blurry background and make it look all nice. I spent like $900 on my drone, and I used Final Cut, or I used to use Final Cut Pro. Now I use CapCut, which is a pretty big software you can use on your
yeah.
phone. But they also have a free one for your desktop. So I just use CapCut, and just plug it in. Um, that's the whole thing.
Yes, Final Cut Pro is great. You buy it once, you have it
It
forever.
was 250
It's
a year,
250,
250 total
250.
is what I think.
That's not bad at all. Yeah, it's some of the best, the largest YouTube channels, Veritasium, a big science channel on YouTube. He only uses Final Cut Pro,
Mhm.
and he's got 20 million subscribers.
Reason.
And then my CapCut, yeah, I thought it was junk a few years ago, but they've put in a lot of money into it. It's really good quality
And
as of
it
the
is
past year or
not
so.
as Final Cut Pro, but like the interface itself is much easier, right? I mean,
It's really pick up and play
yeah, I mean,
for the
you can
most
just
part.
watch 2, 3 YouTube videos on how to edit a video, and you can get right into it. So it's a lot easier for people to use.
Yeah, they've got wonderful tutorials. Yeah, and if you want the paid version, it's only $100 a year,
Cool.
and it's got good photo editing stuff too for people that want to do their own, listing photos and things like that. You need to touch things up, get the work in, but yeah, for anyone that's doesn't want to break the bank, CapCut will take care of you.
Yep.
Um, so let's work back a bit. What you you got into real estate?
Mhm,
That was from the Air Force first.
mhm,
What was your inspiration, goals, getting into the Air Force?
mhm,
What did you do there?
mhm. Yeah, so right out of high school, me and my cousin, we're the same age. We ended up joining together, so I think it made it a little bit easier for us to kind of go in together. But we do have a family coming from a military background. But I mean, high school, yeah, I just didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. People were going to college, and my friends were broke as hell going, they're in college. The
Mhm.
ones,
Yeah.
this sucks. I'm broke. And I'm like, I just don't want to do that. So originally went in the Air Force basically to get free tuition so I could go to
Mhm.
college. I didn't know what the long term goal was. It's just, hey, you get a degree, get a good paying job. But my mom kind of works as a property manager for a few guys in Kent, and they've owned real estate. That's their job, right? They own, I think, like 40, I don't know what there is now, but they owned like 20, 30, 40 properties at the time. And
Okay.
that was their job. You know what I mean? I was like, man, they're making all this wealth. I mean, they own millions in real estate. They get to work from home, do what they want. And so I thought that was really appealing. So still went to school for my marketing degree. But when I got out of the Air Force, I kind of saw what they were doing and kind of wanted to mirror it.
Okay.
You needed money. I didn't save up a lot of money. I spent a lot of money in the Air Force just having fun. And so when I got out, I had a little bit of money, but I'm like, man, I don't know the process. I'm a perfectionist, like I said. So I didn't want to just jump into it. I wanted to know the ins and outs. And so I immediately started getting my license. I got out in April in the Air Force, and then September, like 5 months later or whatever, maybe I got my license and just
Okay.
went full steam with it. But
Okay. What did you do in the Air Force?
I was healthcare administrative. So I worked in the hospital. Um, I went in open general into the Air Force. And so they kind of
Okay.
find me a job. Yeah, worked in healthcare for 6 years. And healthcare itself already has um, a strong structure because it's, medical. But then on top of that, the Air Force has its own structure. So it was very structured and very kind of, here's what you're supposed to do. And I think moving away from the Air Force, being very structured, I wanted something where I can get rewarded for what I've been doing, not just an hourly job or anything like that. It's like, man, I'm working this hard in the Air Force and getting recognized, but no matter what I do, good, bad,
It pays the same.
I'm getting paid the same. And those other people, Air Force is a whole different thing, right? I mean, you can volunteer and make your record look really good. So you have people going out and volunteering so they wouldn't have to do their actual work.
Mhm.
Made their record look better because they're like, oh, wow, this airman's been out here just volunteering like crazy, giving back to the community. And it's like, man, I'm the one doing all the work though, while they're all volunteering because
Yeah.
you have work to do. So I was like, man, if I just apply this to an outside job where I become my own boss, I just thought that was the best avenue because I'm very self-motivated.
Structure of the Air Force kind of helped you
move away from structure a little bit.
Well, yeah, but like
Before.
you don't even realize it, I bet, but you come out a different person, as in more structured, more, um, you're fortunate that you didn't get to see combat. So,
Hey, I was in
um,
Afghanistan.
well, but
I've seen people
yes,
in the hospital.
well, yeah, if you're working in healthcare, but
Yeah,
yeah, it's,
yeah,
I
it
mean,
was eye opening to be kind of like in a combat zone. Obviously not in combat, but just seeing kind of like this is what our world is in certain areas it is really eye opening. Coming back to the States and seeing people complain that like, oh, I got a flat tire. It was one of those things where I was like, dude, people are
yeah,
it's just a different perspective. So yeah, whether I know it or not, I'm sure it's ingrained that
yeah. My dad was over there too. He was over there for 5 years, and he
when
said, you know, why do they even have the mortar drills? Because the time it comes on, it's already
yeah,
over with.
right, yeah, you got a couple seconds.
But the base is shut down for an hour and a half. But yeah, so you made it into real estate. You studied marketing, you said.
Yes.
Walk us through that.
Marketing and real estate, I mean, obviously real estate all comes down to marketing, but what you learn in school is not really too applicable to
Right. Yeah. I did marketing too.
well, I mean, you learn some ins and outs of it a little bit, but like any job, you have on the job training. So I don't know how much I didn't apply anything directly that I learned from school, but I'm sure what was maybe I just kind of already knew it, but I had to think, oh, this course is what helped me apply to this. I just see, hey, what's working for other people? Can I mirror it? Tom Ferry's big in real estate industry, and he always says R&D, which is rip off and duplicate. Hey, if it's
Yeah.
working for one person in another market, why can it not work in your market? And it's finding that little niche and just kind of going all in on it.
Yeah. When we were in school, video was not a thing.
We do.
And then 2 years out, everyone's talking about how do I get on YouTube? How do I get ads on YouTube? And I'm like, I don't know, but I can show you how to make a billboard.
Yeah.
So we are learning this on the go.
And yeah,
Um,
YouTube. I learn everything.
yeah.
Everything I learned from YouTube back to YouTube. It's kind of fun how it works. So I think if you're watching this here, you want to go the video route. It's one of those things where it doesn't necessarily have to be perfect. It's just the fact of doing and providing good information. Anything. I mean, next thing I've been kind of thinking of is you've seen people probably on like YouTube or not YouTube, like TikTok and all these other places doing like street interviews.
Mhm.
So that's kind of the next is not necessarily me just talking, but the next thing I want to do is kind of go out into the street of say like Spring Falls or Cleveland or somewhere local and just street interview and just do a quick, hey, what do you like about your area? What don't you like about the area? What's your favorite suburb here in Cleveland? And just kind of go through those so I'm providing people who are watching this the information, but it's not coming from just me, right? It's not just a biased opinion. So that's kind of the next route I want to go to. But again, it doesn't have to be perfect. I don't need a super nice camera. It could be iPhone, and as long as the mic quality sounds good, that's all you need. That's it.
I'd be very interested to see how you transition this social media take on it, because YouTube is its own monster. Trending on LinkedIn is a totally different thing. But yeah, the TikTok Reels type format. Yeah, it's people go on there to watch girls dance and cat videos. So
Yep.
and when you see somebody trend on local content, they're doing something right.
Yeah, to be transparent, I'm not a poster in terms of Facebook, Instagram, and all that. Like, that's just not my avenue. I tried it a while ago. I just didn't know how to get the exposure, right? It's showing it to my mom or friends or some people from high school. I've never focused on, Instagram and all that stuff. But I think when you have a YouTube channel, a lot of people go there for just confirmation on like, oh, this person is still active. He is still selling real estate. But when I was posting on Facebook and Instagram, I'm like, again, how do I get the person 6 doors down from me? Say, hey, Alex, I want to sell my house. Like, I just didn't know how to add them as a friend or run ads, which I've tried. I just didn't see success. And YouTube is free, and it just all kind of worked out.
Yeah, it is like I've seen other people who do it across the country. They've got a little bit of older channels. They're definitely posting 2, 3 times a week,
Mhm.
but their production values aren't as good as yours. I don't recommend anybody goes out and drops $1,800 on a camera, where if it doesn't work out, they should at least have another use for the camera.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're definitely going to be sharing links to your content so people can kind of see this approach you take to things. I guess what we haven't covered yet is the software you use. We've talked about, but give or take, how much time is it actually going into editing?
Um, Depends on the edit. I would say the actual, because there's a lot that kind of goes into it, right? I usually write out a script just because I want it to sound exactly how I'm saying. So I do have like a
Uh-huh.
little teleprompter, so the script might take anywhere from 1 to 3 hours depending on work. I don't always just sit down and just write a script. I'll just kind of, I want to do a video idea, then I'll just kind of plug and play into it. I even use Chat GPT sometimes just to get a layout. So the script 1 to 3 hours is depending. I don't sit down and just spend 3 hours, but after that, the shooting the video might take 20, 30 minutes max, depending if you mess up a lot or whatever it may be. Editing itself can take 3 hours. And then
Okay.
thumbnail depends. It could take 10 minutes or an hour. So I would say in total, like per video, I probably have, and again, I do go get drum videos. So that could take about 2 hours. So in total, I would say per video, it's probably about 10 hours of work on average.
Okay.
And it's sometimes I'll dedicate one day and just knock it all out, or hey, I have an appointment over in this area. I've been wanting to do a video. I'll just get drone shots while I'm here. And I'll have drone shots for a video I make in 2 months. So I always try to plan ahead a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, that's actually a really, really great way of doing things. And of course, if you want to work in an area, the best way to do that is have videos about it.
Mhm.
Like, so it's kind of crazy. We work in real estate for sometimes I'm in 20 miles to the east for like 2 months.
Mhm.
And then another time I'm 30 miles to the west.
Yep. Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah, if you're targeting your things, and you've actually moved since you started doing this. So is that biting you in the butt where your videos that were trending in where you used to live are now dragging you, whatever, an hour, 40 minutes to from where you live now?
yeah, and I moved a lot. So if you're familiar with, like, obviously you are, but like Cleveland and Akron, right? I'm originally from like Kent. So I started on, which is just east of Akron. So I started on like Kent. I started on, kind of moved to Akron since I was the biggest metro. Cleveland was about 45-ish, maybe an hour, depending. So when I
Hmm.
was starting in those areas, I was getting some leads, but I was like, man, I just kind of looked at the analytics of like people researching Akron, say, versus Cleveland. And people were searching Cleveland like 50 times more. And so that's what kind of took me up north. So I was living in Cuyahoga Falls. I moved. And so then I started the YouTube channel for basically the Cleveland area. So it kind of brought me 45 minutes north. So I was always kind of going to these different areas, doing drone videos and stuff. But the driving it doesn't deter me whatsoever. I mean, if you have
Right. Yeah. You can't pick where people want to pay
got
you.
a solid lead that's looking at $400,000 or $500,000 house, I want to make sure they're being helped. Is it not in my backyard? Would it be easier if it was just down the street? For sure. But it didn't deter me. It's not really biting me in the butt or anything. I do drive a little bit more because Cleveland Metro could be an hour. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, I watched your Cleveland
A
videos.
mess.
I'm moving up to Menor, or
Uh-huh.
or I'm moving down to like Worcester. And the Cleveland videos just happened to be what caught their attention, wanted to reach out. Uh,
Hmm.
I've had people say, "Hey, I'm moving to Youngstown or Pennsylvania. I saw your videos," and I'm like, "Oh, it's just." Well, it's a,
Sorry, unless you're buying a mansion.
I've had someone, yeah. Do you how people look for properties in West Virginia? Like
Oh, gosh,
I've
that's so
had that
fun.
stuff where I just popped up on the algorithm. They saw, I guess they liked my content and wanted to work with me. But so
Yeah, I've had similar things. I got all the way down to the paperwork level with people, and then they just put in a totally different state, and I'm like, oh gosh. Sometimes my SEO is too good.
yeah, right. Hey, it's a blessing. It's definitely a
Yeah.
blessing. Unfortunately, we couldn't help them, but I try to point them in the right direction. Is really the best we can do.
You know. All right, so it seems like we're kind of rounding things out here on the show. Alex, before we head out, let me just pick your brain industry
Okay.
wise. So industry as a whole, real estate, particular as a real estate agent,
Mhm.
what do you think the industry should do as a whole to kind of be better? One or two things you think are just really holding it back, you wish could change to make your life easier?
Mhm.
What keeps you up angry at night about your job?
I don't know if it has to do anything necessarily with like an industry itself. I guess it's more, there's just a lot of variables you can't control, and that usually comes from like the client side. I mean, everything is pretty straightforward. That's a good question. I guess I never really thought about what could be different. I mean, everyone kind of goes through the hassles of, doing showings. I mean, whether it's versus hiring a showing agent, because driving a lot, you're not really making money driving. And so that's the
Right.
things that some people implement is, they have a showing agent for their team that actually shows them properties. And then you're the one kind of writing the contracts, negotiating. So I think if anything, it usually comes down to like the business aspect on how you want to run your business to free up your time. From like an industry perspective, I don't really know. I mean, I know a lot of companies are kind of coming in and trying to change it, whether it's Zillow or Opendoor, that are trying to change the model that's always been here since day one. I don't know if a lot of them were getting traction or whatnot. So I don't know if the industry could change. It's just how effective are you going to be at running your own business?
Okay. That's,
Yeah, I never really thought about that question. Is it?
yeah. Well, this is the thing when it's the first episode, I'm asking the right or wrong questions, but
Yeah, and unfortunately, people have some other things that they
yeah.
hate. But I mean, I've already accepted that this is the business. It usually, if I were to change something in the industry, it's usually coming from how am I going to run my business, because we're all contractors at the end of the day, right? 1099 employees.
Yeah.
And so how you want to run it, you can run it this way, and some people have success doing it whatever way. It's just how is it going to work for you?
So you should be a politician. That's a very both pointing in the right direction while not offending
All right.
anybody.
Can you answer the question?
Is now you did talk about, it was kind of like seeing how property owners and landlords and such
Mhm.
was kind of what got you into the industry. Is that still where you're thinking, or you're kind of liking this working on the buying and selling side?
So I do own a 4 unit and another single family house. So just 5 units total. And it's something I've been kind of trying to grow. Originally, I think it was like 10, 20, 30 properties, right? Like I was like, hey, let's scale this thing out. But after getting a couple properties, I mean, it could be a lot. You could have, potentially have my first eviction coming up. One of the showers ended up getting mold and the tile fell off. So I had to spend $3,000 just to fix it. So there's a lot that comes with real estate. I'm sure once you scale it out, again, you maybe have more money to allocate towards it, but it is a pretty big time investment. And one thing I'm surprised I really haven't done too much is we do have a pretty big market in terms of investors, right? It's a lot of investors always look here in Cleveland. And I do get a lot of people that reach out saying, hey, I'm looking to invest in Cleveland. I'm from California. I have $1 million in liquid that I'm trying to disperse. I personally just haven't got into the investment side too much, helping investors, mainly just families and whatnot relocating here. But that could be another big avenue I could kind of go down. But I think my goals have changed after buying a couple properties. It's, hey, you don't need 20, 30, 40 of them. You just focus on, hey, maybe 10 doors and then kind of see where it goes from there. So
Yeah, it's not passive income like people say it is.
Mhm.
They're calling you with a light bulb going out,
Well-
and they're saying my landlords before never made me change a light bulb.
yeah,
So
it's different. I mean, it adds up. I mean, long term, of course, it's a phenomenal investment. I mean, they're paying down your mortgage, you get tax write-offs. It's phenomenal. But yeah, that actual like cash flow that you get every month. I mean, again, spending $3,000 on that shower, that tenant I make 4,500 a year. So it's in terms of cash flow. So a lot of that just kind of wiped away in just one remodel. Now, of course, again, other benefits, but
but that shower's not going to break for another 15 years.
so again,
hopefully.
yeah, you just never know. But it's as long as you keep on your properties 10, 20, maybe 30 years down the road, or whatever it may be. I mean, it's a huge investment that you're just setting up.
Okay. Work-life balance.
Mhm.
You type of guy that looks like you have fun. What do you do? Is real estate a 9 to 5 for you? What are you doing to maximize that work-life balance? Because I think everybody that's in the industry knows you will never get more calls after 10 p.m. than as a real estate agent.
Yes. Yes. Work-life balance can be tough. I think that could be one of the things I would like to change. If anything, going back or circling back is, yeah, I mean, if this job I always said was like, a 9 to 5 more so, I've had purchase contracts sent to me at 2 a.m. I was like, I even messaged him like, hey, what were you doing up at 2 a.m.? She's like, oh, we went out for my daughter's graduation and got home and had to knock out some work. So it's really trying to put restriction on your business, knowing that like you have a 30-day usually closing.
Yeah.
Unless it needs to be done. Again, if it's 5 o'clock at night and they're over here bugging me about trying to get an ROC signed, I'm like, hey, we still have 2 days. I'll just send it to you first thing in the morning. Where some realtors are like, hey, I need to go do it now. I'm going to go upstairs in my office and just send it out. And that can have an effect on you and your family, right? Because that's the thing is when you work from home, it's so easy to work. It's not.
It's always also not to work too. Like Netflix is so good nowadays.
Yeah. And so it's one of those things where you could be working all day, but if you really kind of break it down. You're like, maybe I only worked 5 hours today, but maybe I worked for 30 minutes and went knocked out some, uh, went grocery shopping or whatever, maybe then came back and worked for 30 minutes. So it's kind of spread out throughout the whole day, where it's a little bit different than working like, hey, here are my set hours. I'm working it. And working with buyers, kind of for my YouTube channel for the most part, is again, a lot of weekends. They usually, hey, I'll be in town Friday to Sunday. I want to look at some properties. We're looking to move in a couple of weeks. Just want to get the lay of the land. Can you
Mhm.
show us some properties? Can you show us around? So a lot of weekends and even again after work, people get off at 4 or 5 o'clock at night, and that's when they can see properties. So it's been tough. There's not really much you can do too much about when you're going to show these properties, but in terms of work-life balance, it's you don't need to send that contract out at 8 o'clock at night unless there is a deadline for that offer that night. It's having just good
Mhm.
communication with the agent. Hey, can we send it first thing in the morning? Sure, whatever it may be. Obviously, my clients' interests are what I'm looking at. But some stuff, man, you don't need to always work. You can just line it all up for the next day.
All right. I'm glad to see you got a healthy idea on that. Now, let's see. Kind of brought up a good point that I should have touched on earlier.
Mhm.
Most of your clients are not local.
Mhm.
How are you showing them the house? Or what's your process?
Yeah, I mean, I've had people who want to be very involved and were like, hey, I'm going to make weekend trips to look at properties. I need to make sure that I see the property. I like it. They'll make multiple trips out here. And I've had other clients, the first time they step in that property is when they get the keys. Sight unseen. Now, sight unseen. So what I do a lot of times is a lot of people that are looking to move here, what we'll do is we'll do a FaceTime showing, or a lot of times I'll do
Okay.
like I actually record a video and then I just upload it as an unlisted video to YouTube. I mean, you can use Dropbox or whatever it may be, but
Right, right.
I just put it all,
YouTube's free.
yeah, just
Yeah.
put it on unlisted. So whoever has a link can view it. And that way they can reference back to it um, time and time again. So it does give you a lot of flexibility. If someone's interested in a property, hey, I want to see this property today. I can set up a showing at 8 in the morning or 6 o'clock at night. Whenever I want to get out there and record that video and upload it to them, is I can fit it into my schedule. So that's one of the huge benefits of working kind of remotely is a lot of people request videos. They want to see the property and it makes your life a lot easier. They can keep viewing it over and over again.
Okay. When you do those videos for remote recording, just like off your iPhone, are you bringing in like
We use a gimbal.
your $1,700 camera with
Mobile
a
rates.
ring light?
Hey, having a nice camera is great and all, but it's very sensitive to light and exposure and all that good stuff. And so your iPhone, man, the quality of it is amazing. I mean, it adjusts when you're going outside to inside perfectly. So I just throw it on the gimbal. I spent like $100 on it. That way it's smooth. I put it horizontally, wide lens so they can see everything. And I just show them about the house. Like, hey, your roof is older here. Uh,
Mhm.
5 years left or whatever it may be. I just try to give my professional opinion on, hey, these floors are really creaky. Just want to give you a heads up. These appliances might be newer or older. I just give my personal opinion as I'm walking through it because they want honesty is what they want.
Yeah.
They don't want to just be, oh, this house is perfect.
You're gonna love this kitchen.
And then they
It's got
move
6
in,
cabinets.
or even the neighbors, right? Like some people,
Yeah.
hey, your neighbors have a lot of like joke laying around just to give you a heads
Mhm.
up. I don't know if they're good or bad people, whatever it may be, but they obviously aren't keeping up with their property. And that can
Mhm.
be a deciding factor. So I always show them kind of everything, the goods and the bads, because I don't
No.
want them to close on the property and say, why didn't you show me this? It's the last thing I want. I know it's a huge investment. So I want to make,
Yeah, when you close on a deal
mm,
and a past client calls you, it is either the worst or best news. It's never in between.
it is. Hey, love the house. Neighborhood's great. Or I had one week later. Hey, our basement is flooding. Like it just was a remodeled house, got a rain, basement flooded. So we connected with the previous contractor. It was a lot of stuff going on, but yeah, it's either really good or really bad. Hopefully it's all good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, hopefully. Because
Hopefully.
after they sign those papers, you're working for free.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't,
Or really, you're working not to lose money now.
yeah. And again, it feels like it is my reputation too, but I also know that like, hey, if I
Right.
were to buy this house as myself, would I be happy? And that's how I try to
Mhm.
look at it from their perspective. So it's getting to know the client, they like being near parks, they like to walk their dog, how close you want to be grocery stores. I kind of take all that in consideration and let them know, here's what I'm seeing. Does it work for you? Yes or no? So I ultimately have them make the decision. I just provide the information the best I can.
That's integrity that I wish a lot more people are in industry had. everywhere from the agents to the underwriters. Just that integrity to just slip in. It's like, are you sure?
Yeah,
Let me
very
tell
much in the Air Force. It was always integrity and excellence in all we do. It was
you.
kind of one of the mottos that we always use. So I take responsibility for a lot of stuff that I do, and I just want to make sure they're happy. And if they're not happy, it's something that we didn't foresee, especially again, you doing home inspections and whatnot too. So it's one of those things where we make sure we take all the proper steps. If something slips through the cracks, where you missed, I missed, at the end of the day, let's just try to find a solution. Stuff happens.
Yeah. hmm Yeah, your reputation will get you, well, maybe not in your case because you're meeting people from California and Alaska, but your reputation will pay for itself.
Yeah, in
People
the
talk.
industry, talking to other realtors, you know what I mean? Like, oh,
Yeah.
I'll work with this person again. Well,
Yeah.
they're around.
All right. So let's say it's back 2018, you started out.
Yeah,
What do you wish you knew then that you know now?
that's fair. Try to start video earlier, and also don't be afraid to network within realtors. I think that was one of the biggest thing when I moved from CEXP, I was at Century 21 before, is when I was at Century 21, I didn't really care about the aspect of realtors, right? We're all kind of competing for the same business. I networked with Century 21 agents, but kind of moving to EXP, I mean, is one of those things where it is a cloud-based model where they do help a lot of agents. It's a very cohesive and collaborative environment. So kind of moving into this about 2 years ago, I've been with EXP. I've been able to network with agents a lot more, just have good relationships and get invited to more open houses or brokers opens or events and getting referrals from other agents. So in the beginning, I kind of shied away from it. You know, this is my business. You're doing your own business. We're all kind of competing. So now it's a little bit more collaborative. So I think in the beginning, I just wish I knew what I knew now on that aspect.
That is great advice. Like so many people I hear over the years, they just ask, literally, they're the whatever side of the deal they're on. They just ask the other agent for some help.
Mhm.
Like, not like, what's your client's top dollar type thing, but literally just like, how can we make this move faster? What's your opinion? And, 5, 10 years down the road, they're literally business partners because, I wouldn't say it's showing weakness, but showing willingness
Mhm.
to ask for help.
Mhm.
That'll do more for you in the industry, I think, than a few other things.
Yeah, what people don't. It's a very personal business, very maybe ego. I mean, we're all running our own businesses. I think at the end of the day, we all have maybe the same mindset on, hey, we want to be entrepreneurs. We want to build our business, but we don't collaborate as sometimes as much as I think we should. So
Yeah, even Coke and Pepsi. Sounds like they're a rivalry, but
yeah,
some guys apparently stole the Coca-Cola recipe, and the first thing Pepsi did was call the FBI. So, you do have to take care of your competitors because,
Mhm.
we're all in the same industry together.
Yes, yeah,
There are times when the listing agent has said, the buyer's got to get in. Can you let them into their seller? It's like, I need a favor. And it's all because great past working relationships.
but
So,
we've I've gotten deals before because I've like, hey, I know this realtor. We've done deals in the past. Call, hey, what can we do? And it's not that I'm the listing agent is divulging information that he's not going to tell anyone else but me. But I actually have asked the question, right, and built the relationship and talked like, hey, what are your sellers looking for? Is this something we can do? We're willing to be really competitive. And so just having that good, personal relationship, not even too personal, but just a good understanding of each other that we're both trying to get this done. Let's make it work. It really goes far.
yeah,
Mhm.
it in some ways, it is a cutthroat industry, but, especially since the Olympics were just on, when it's all said and done, all the 400-meter swimmers compete against each other 10 times a year,
Mhm.
which means they're hanging out for a week in wherever that pool is. You get to know each other,
Mhm.
and, you might not get the gold, but you're going to shake their hand. You're going to have your best friend in this pool from another country, but you're going to be glad they got the gold, even if you got the bronze.
Hey, and you're competing against the best too. So
Yeah.
it puts you out there in a different mindset that I can do better. And so it's surrounding yourself again, like with swimming, just in real estate, like-minded individuals. Like if you're doing video, maybe find other realtors that have kind of done video and just bounce ideas. I mean, I've talked with
Uh-huh.
realtors and it was like St. Augustine, Florida. Um, he sent up a lead to me. He's like, "Hey, I got a guy moving," and we kept talking. Right? He's growing a
hmm
YouTube channel, and we'll bounce ideas off each other here and there. And so there's nothing wrong with surrounding yourself with like-minded realtors, even if they're not the same company. It's just like, hey, how can we be better?
Okay. Wonderful way of looking at things. Wonderful way of looking at things. I think I got my last question for you, Alex. Obviously, we know you're all in on video. If someone were to come to you today and they want to get in the industry, what would you tell them? Not video-wise, I guess, since we already know that's your golden ticket. What would be your silver ticket for them to get ahead, or at least hit the ground running?
Yeah, and real estate is a tough business. It really is. You see, it's like a shiny object, right? People saying, oh, realtors are making all this money. It can't be that hard. My last realtor sold us our house and made $8,000. I can do it. A lot of people don't understand it is a lead-based business. Again, I don't want any crappy realtors out there, but it's not that you're crappy. It's just, again, you're not building the business. So anyone that's looking to get into it, I say find a niche that works for you, whether you're a very personal person, you like to network, whether you like to do videos, whether you have a huge sphere of influence, like you're in multiple clubs or say you teach soccer for the kids or whatever it may be, you can get in with that group of people and really just kind of put yourself out there. You don't want to be a secret agent. All right.
A secret agent.
Yeah. Yep. So you want to put yourself out there. I just found the video was the best way. You don't have to do all these crazy things. Obviously with TikTok and all this stuff going on, I mean, people are kind of going into video, but it's a different style of video, right? It's how can I get the most views? Views are everything, right? Eyes, attention are the most important thing in real estate. So whether you're doing postcards or whatever it may be, I mean, just get them back to you some way out, like a call to action. It's not easy.
Yeah.
There's no one word answer for how you're going to grow your business.
Well, yeah, there's no one word, but
That's the problem. 97 ways to grow your business in real estate. It's just which one is going to work for you.
yeah, they all do work some way or the other. But yeah,
It's do every the work that you're doing.
yeah, some agents, yeah, I'm getting cards all the time. Just we sold a house in your neighborhood, and I've done the math. That's like 90 cents per house.
It adds up.
So
And I always think from a perspective too, like obviously I'm a realtor, but it's hard to put yourself in the consumer's shoes. Like you're getting these postcards to your house right now. What would they have to say for you to be like, maybe I should give them a call? You know what I mean? If I'm getting this postcard, what kind of call to action or something would make me want to either go to their website or actually engage with them? So it's just something to think about.
yeah, it is that call to action. Like 1 in 13 people are going to move each year. How are you going to? Obviously, some are getting apartments, but yeah, how do you get them to like you? And if somebody's like, "Well, I'm interested in Cleveland. Grandpa grew up there. Why should I move to Cleveland?" Your video pops up. That's it. No one's sending postcards to Iowa.
Right.
Not Cleveland.
Other people move to Cleveland that aren't even looking for jobs. They're just like, hey, I saw Cleveland was a cool area. I wanted to move there. And I'm like, have you ever been? They're like, no. I'm like, these are places in the United States. You just kind of like, so it's people move for whatever reason. It's just, you got to do.
Yeah, yeah. Like it is relatively cheap. It's got a very Detroit-like feel to it, where it might not be the most. It's no Pittsburgh or Manhattan and Cleveland proper, but the suburbs are actually some of the wealthiest in the country.
Yeah.
So you can get affordable, you can get luxury. Lake Erie's got a bit of a history to it, but there's $20 million houses that are smaller than my garage on that lake.
Dude, it's wild. My stepmom just went down to Florida and she was sending me properties. I was like, hey, check this one out. And it was like a $4 million property. I'm like, that would be almost like $1 million here. Like how big it was. It was on the water. Of course, it's like an intercoastal or whatever. But I was like, geez. But one thing you don't think about is their property and their insurance for their property is unbelievable. So when you look at like just cost of living in general, it's like, sure, some home prices sometimes honestly could reflect. I'm like, wow, I can't believe Cleveland is that expensive. But when you break it down under cost of living, much cheaper.
Yeah, some people in my family moved down south, even pre-COVID. I was just like, what do you mean a house is not $80,000 and absolutely perfect?
Yeah, yeah. You know, other areas in Cleveland, where it is just really affordable.
Yeah, like obviously pre-COVID, the Zestimate at least is off the charts for all these neighborhoods and communities I grew up in. But yeah, like you could pre-COVID buy a damn near perfect house for $120,000. It'd be about 1,800 square feet.
Yeah, it was a good starter home. I mean, it was affordable. It was in a decent area. Like people can get into it now. Like the average, yeah, if you're looking under 200,000, it seems like it's like, man, it's gonna be a little tough.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Just the life we choose, you know? We're
Yep.
not selling candy bars. But yeah, Alex, unless there's anything else crossing your mind, I have covered and discovered more questions to ask you than I thought I could. So
Good.
thank you very much. If you have any closing statements.
No, I mean, yeah, if you're looking to, again, I focus on video. If you're watching this and you want to focus on video as well, I mean, feel free to reach out to me. Again, I'll tell you my journey and tell you maybe what journey might work best for you based on what your goals are. So that's the biggest thing. And I like a collaborative environment. I'd love to help. So definitely reach out.
All right. Thank you very much, Alex. Thank you for your time today.
Abs-
Good luck to you. Good luck to everybody listening. And everybody have a wonderful day.
Okay.
Some of you you'll see in the next episode merely moments away, and others maybe a week or so. Who knows when I'm going to upload this? All right. Thank you very much, everybody. This has been Another House Podcast.
Take care. Thanks.
Thank you for taking part in this first episode of the Another House Podcast. I hope you learned something new. Alex had a lot of tips and tricks about what he's doing to succeed. Obviously, with video creation, it's one of those things you kind of got to learn the hard way. But hey, you know what? He didn't start out on day one just drowning in leads and clients that were leading to transactions. But you know what? He got there really quick from it. So if you're interested in video production, I'd say check him out, follow his content, and of course, if you're interested in growing on social media in particular, check out the 15K Masterclass. Over 40 easily digestible lessons, plus case studies, so you can see what other people are doing to get local followers in their area to follow them, interact with their content, like, know, trust, and respect them. Listeners of the podcast do save $50 with the promo code podcast, so I suggest you check it out. I look forward to seeing you all on the next episode where we're talking with Eric Fredmonsky, a guy who has taken a very customer-centric focus to his business. And I know we all say we're customer-centric, but man, this guy takes it to a whole nother level. So I'll see you all in the next episode.